Hello, all you gamers out there, and today we'll be answering actually a question, which quite strange, but was Star Wars: The Old Republic a failure? Star Wars: The Old Republic is the game that everyone wants to hate. Many reasons for it. Number one, Star Wars: The Old Republic was the reason that Star Wars Galaxies was gone. Star Wars Galaxies was closed the exact same time that the Star Wars: The Old Republic servers came on. I believe December 21st, 2011. And that was the end of Star Wars Galaxies. It was, now it'd have to be December 21st. And the end of Star Wars Galaxies was definitely probably one of the most, it was probably the most, like, emotional game shutdowns to date. Because that was a game people have grown up and they saw it evolve to what it became. It wasn't people like actually made like lifelong friends in there. Star Wars Galaxies was the EverQuest for, I guess, geeks, you could say. It was like the true Star Wars fan. Like that's where you would go. You would play Star Wars Galaxies. There was no doubt. And everyone hates Star Wars: The Old Republic because of that. But let's say you're not one of those people that played Star Wars Galaxies. I kind of hated them for that because Star Wars Galaxies was a great game. However, we're going to skip and we're just going to blame LucasArts for it, and we're going to skip over to the actual game. During the beta, they had, some people loved the game. Game looked great. Game was very well written. Game ran well. Unfortunately, during the release, they actually did something really stupid, and they removed the higher level graphics, okay? They actually limited the way that the game looked to improve everyone's performance. Well, people were saying, why should I be limited when my computer can handle something like that? They lost a good chunk of their fan base right there. They all ran because it was just idiotic for them at the time. Why on earth would you want to play a limited game? It makes no sense. And, so naturally, they added it back. Then people started getting mad because there was literally no content. Star Wars: The Old Republic was a game completely driven by the story. It tried to immerse you into the Star Wars universe. Unfortunately, it kind of failed at its own goal, and what do I mean by that? Star Wars: The Old Republic has the greatest story system of any MMO to date. No question about it. Great voiceovers, great story. The choices make minuscule changes to the outcome. Actually, I haven't seen any changes. If I choose to, like, be evil as a Jedi Knight, the Grandmaster Satele is going to be like, you're not becoming a Jedi Master. At the end, I'm going to get the same title anyways. That's one reason people left. The choices had no effect. Very few choices actually affected your outcome. Sith Warrior. They had two romance options: Vet or the apprentice. And if you chose to like beat up Vet, your apprentice would like you. If you chose to like free Vet, then she would end up being your romantic interest. People thought that was stupid. Why is it that very few people actually got that? Why did only like one or two classes actually get that option? It's completely stupid for them, but understandable at the same time. And then we move on into like some of the idiotic changes that they've made. The game has no balance. Star Wars: The Old Republic is the game where either one class is really overpowered or one class is just heavily weak. Because there's only there's only 8 technical classes in the game. Not 16, 8. You have your 4 main classes, then you have the sub-branches. And as it stands right now, one of those 8 is just getting slaughtered in war zones. And it was also one of the most overpowered ones during launch. It's because when you try to balance the game, their logic was, we're going to nerf them, and we're going to buff the other guys. Logic like that rivals on the same. I'm going to go this isn't like a jab at anyone, but it's like the same as saying, oh, it I'm gonna go I'm gonna send all my employees on vacation, and I'm going to give them all a raise. Paid vacation, all my employees. You don't do something like that. If they're all getting paid vacation and paid leave, you're not making any money. Why give them more money for not doing anything? Business smart, it's a stupid thing. Nice thing to do as a person. So, it was just a double negative. So, Sith sorcerers and Jedi sages are just weakened right now. So, the balance issue really has gotten a lot of people annoyed. There was a reason the game was called the Tortanic. It was a ship, what was meant to be the WoW killer. That's what everyone claimed it to be. It was one of the very few dedicated WoW killers that people were calling. At this time, there are no WoW killers. But the point stood. People believed this game was going to be huge. The game was huge. One of the fastest selling MMOs of all time. The game ran out of its collector's edition for the pre-orders. Oh my god, that right there. That was like mind-blowing. I believe they broke the record during their time until Guild Wars 2 came out. Then the game started just failing. Because after you got level 50, the whole thing about the game, the story, had no effect. And then they started to revamp PvP. The Battle Master's gear. If you remember the Battle Master's gear, you were a true fan. Battle Master's gear was the highest level of gear until they started giving you the swamp monster stuff. The Sith sorcerers claim that their gear looks make them look like a swamp monster. It kinda does. But that Battle Master's gear, when people were going to lose it, they're going to see this is completely stupid. Why on earth are we losing all those medals and all that work that we put into it, and that gear can't be got again? So there were recipes. Very, 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 very few people have those recipes. The Battle Master's gear is some of the rarest in the game to get right now. I have one recipe for a full set of these Battle Master's Force Master's gear. And that was definitely one of the biggest like downfalls of the game. You removed gear, and ever since then the game has been slowly declining because there's nothing to do. And they realized it's like, okay, we have to do something to get our players to come back. That is what we call the dumbest idea in free-to-play history. Tor went free-to-play. That wasn't the issue. The issue is they literally have the most hated free-to-play model in the game industry. Tor and their EA made the greediest, dumbest, half-witted designed freaking free-to-play system ever. And that was, if you were limited, they took away hot bars from, they take away your, how many quick bars you're going to have for your skills if you're a free-to-play. I'm sorry, but that kind of stuff, that just doesn't fly. That was what prompted Terra. When Terra went free-to-play, they said, we won't do anything like take away your hot bars. They took a jab at them, because they knew that idea was completely stupid. And therefore, their entire free-to-play idea went down the drain. No one wants to play the game where they're limited on skills. They take away your experience. They take away some experience. They take away money. They take away your ability to wear higher level gear. You have to wait until level 20 to ride speeders. You can only do like 5 war fronts a week. You can only get 5 rolls in a flashpoint per week. And they nickel and dime you on everything. And ever since then, Tor has just been failing miserably, and for good reason. So was Tor a failure? In my mind, it was. So thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for another video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I will try to answer them. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.